What is up, Go World? It's me, your boy JDZ, and I'm back at you with another Go format video, fresh off of his top 8 in Chicago. We have Bluetooth in the building, saying Prix for doing his thing, MVP of the event, and he also topped it. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Bluetooth. Tell us how you feeling about that top 8.
It felt awesome. It was just a great time. Got to meet a whole bunch of people I normally wouldn't be able to. It was awesome putting names to faces and faces to names, and it was a great time overall. Felt awesome to top. This is my first time topping an event like this. 69 players. Nice. Pretty big GGP event, so it felt really good top. Yeah, so this is Rescue Cat Earth OTK, inspired by Danger Boss's list like a couple moons ago. For my ratios, we're doing the 3 cat, 3 Milas, 2 panda, and 1 wombat. I like this ratio a lot. I feel like you can change the ratio on 2 wombat, 1 panda, but I feel like overall this is the strongest you can get with it. Panda is just great on the board in general. It's able to push in for damage and establish a lot of board presence, especially if your opponent's playing something like Turbo. It's extremely powerful against Turbo. It's pretty good against Control as well because it's a really bad tier target. So it's really nice at just putting in damage solo. While the Wombat is just great as a combo piece. Obviously the 3 Milas and the 1 Wombat is lethal. So obviously you have to play at least one of those as well.
Nice.
For Warriors, we're running 2 Goblins and then Exiled. Really low Warrior count for what we're doing. We're doing double Rhoda, but at the same time, your Rhoda is going to be mostly just an extender for your Exile Force to combo. The Goblins are nice to have. They're able to stall for game by just having an attack position and forcing your opponent to figure out what to do with them. They're 2300, so not a whole lot you can really do about it unless you snatch it. They're great as really making it really awkward for your opponent to do snatch steal. Makes them waste, makes you gain 2,000 life points, which can help you with Stein and everything. It's awesome. Big beaters. Triple Gigantes. This with the Milas is like just insane. If you banish your cat, or if you banish a Exile Force, and you have 2 Milases on the board, this thing becomes 2,900. So you pull out 2 of these, it's game. It's super strong, and it's super synergistic with the whole deck. Double Rat. This is kind of, I'm not super big on recruiters in general right now. I think they're not the best cards, but I think in this deck they're kind of necessary to have. You have a lot of different rat targets, and rat in battle phase of a will can get you there sometimes because we are playing Lily. It's able to get you out stuff like Exile Force and a late cat, so you can kind of force your cat combos. I don't think it's necessarily bad. I wish it was a different card, to be honest with you, but you don't really have too many options. Beggars can't be choosers. For big last will targets, we're doing a Cyberstein and a Lily. These cards are just powerhouses. These, especially the Stein, this is probably one of the best cards in the game. It's so powerful. It just steals games all the time, no matter what your matchup is, whether it's like RGT, Turbo, Control, Warrior. Stein will get you there just no matter what. He's just that strong. Safe bets is always going to be stuff like Dragoon. Match dependent stuff is going to be stuff like Last Warrior, which can just, depending on the matchup, can just win you the game by itself. And obviously you have your big pushers, you have your Oz, you have your Fiend Skull Dragons, all that kind of stuff too. The toolbox versatility of it is just too much for the game. It's just amazing. And that's the monster lineup. Really proud of the consistency of this deck as far as the monster lineup goes. For spells, you're on triple Will and triple Trunade, and then we also are running a Heavy Storm. Just basic stuff. Get your combo. These are your combo pieces. This with a cat is like your Exodia. Just wins you the game instantly. Just be smart with your Trunades. It's artificial board advantage, so make sure you make that turn count. Run double Rhoda to search for our Exile Force and also our Goblins. Just spins the deck out, gets you some pressure on board, helps you stall a little bit, or helps you push for game. Double Knock. These are good. They're always going to be nice to have. Some people play the Mind Cons. I think no matter which way you go about it, you're going to be able, as long as you make sure your opponent's stuff is gone, it's going to be just fine. I like the Nox because it also helps when you're not pushing lethal or OTK. these are really good to just have. We also have Trinity. Well, actually, Duality. We're not playing Duo. It's not worth to have. You can't really afford to lose the life points. Life points are everything in this deck. Every life point matters, yours and your opponent's. So you can't really afford to do stuff like Duo, sadly. But we are playing Pod and Grace. We'll get ourselves deeper into that, into the deck. Really push for that Exodia. So we're running Prix. This with Cat is Exodia. You don't even need the will. One sword to stall for a little bit. Makes your opponent, like, it sucks because it makes your opponent have to use MST if they have it, which is really unfortunate if they do. Destinados also hurt this. But if you're sitting on the swords and the sticks for a while, that's 3 turns, that's 3 draws. So that's really helpful for you if you're really struggling on getting those combo pieces. And then the last spell is going to be the Snatch Steal. This was my 40th card. I'm not too big on it, to be honest with you. I think unless you're pushing lethal, this card isn't particularly amazing. Like I said before, you can't really afford to give your opponent the life points. Every single life point matters, so unless this is just an extension of your combo and you really need to, I wouldn't recommend using it unless your opponent obviously has something like a BLS. So make sure you get your value out of this. Make sure you're not going minus on life points with it, because the last thing you want to do is to get your opponent back in the game after you've done a huge push. And then for traps, it's super simple. We're playing Triple Jar and a Reckless and a Ring. Just dig deep. Don't worry about anything else. Just keep drawing your cards. The Reckless is amazing. It's like one of the most undervalued cards in the game. Super sleeper hit. Because the thing about Reckless Greed is if you're going to be pushing lethal this turn, like let's say you're just missing a True Nade, you have your Cat, you have your Will, all you need is a True Nade, this will get you there. You know, the skipping the 2 draw phases, it doesn't matter if you're winning that turn. Draw your 2 cards. It's awesome. It's free. And the Ring, obviously, for a burn. That's the main deck.
All right. Anything? Would you change? Would you change anything if you had to do this event again, playing that day?
Maybe not main. Main deck's pretty tight as is because everything has to be linked to each other. I felt like I was overall pretty happy with the whole engine. I guess you can make an argument for cutting wrap or something else, but I wouldn't know what. I know some players will play stuff like Rock Spirit to increase the consistency of their vanishes. I don't think that's the correct answer, but that's what some people like to do.
All right, let's see that side deck.
For side, we're mostly focusing on will targets. Will targets I can keep consistently in the game, or can also seal it. For example, we've got Double Kinetic Soldier. Kinetic Soldier I think is pretty uniquely good in this deck. I'm not hot on it in most other builds. Unless you're playing something like this or Earth Aggro, I don't advise Kinetic Soldier. But in this deck, he does wonders because he's a last will target, and he also gets summoned off of Rat, which is really helpful for that Warrior matchup, which is probably the most troublesome matchup. That and probably Control are some of the harder matchups, but I think Kinetic Soldier makes it a lot more doable, especially since we're playing 2. We're playing a Warrior Lady. It's a last will target for Chaos. In case you don't draw your Exodia, you can at least put some pressure on the board, really try to get something going on. If your opponent is a Chaos monster on board, you can swing into with the Warrior Lady, a searchable with Rhoda, which is nice. Speaking of Rhoda targets, we're playing an Archer for Burn. You got to get those Ajama tokens off the board. And the 2400 is super helpful in this matchup because that's just an extra extension of what could be lethal. Then we're running one level 2. It's a Roto target, summonable off Rat, and it's a last will target. Not really much more you can really say about it. It's super strong against Turbo, and I think this card is an all-time great. This card is just awesome. I play in everything. And then we run a second Wombat or Warrior and Burn matchup. This is just if I feel like the 2 Wombat, 1 Panda ratio is superior. So it's just 1 card in the side deck. I feel like it's worth having. It's just an easy hot swap. For spells, we're playing Double Book. I bring this in against a lot of stuff, actually. This card I bring in very often. If it's not something like Turbo, it's coming in. I even play against Warriors because I know for a fact that Warriors, 100% of the time, we're bringing in their Wengus So if you see your opponent with a Wangu, you book it, you get your panda, swing in on it. Really, that's the biggest fear in the warrior matchup is the Wangu. So book really helps with that. You could make an argument for smashing ground, but I feel like book has more versatility all around, and also it being a quick spell is really nice too. Double Minecon, you guys know Minecon. Everybody's seen Minecon. This card's good. And then one walk for a second burn card. This card's nice. Use it on Master of Oz and you win your matchup. I never went to time. I was never going to time. I planned I was never going to time. I willed into existence. So I never had to use this card really. Never had to worry about going to time for walks. It was great. And one Vortex for Reasoning Gate and Control. We're not playing Tribe, so we're just playing the Vortex instead. It's really nice. You just clear your opponent's board, then you can guys kind of just pop off and go for lethal damage with the cat. And then for traps, we're doing Double Decree, 1 mirror. This is kind of like if I see my opponent's playing something like Solemn, or if I see my opponent's up playing Warrior, this is coming in. I usually take out my Jars and my Reckless, and so my trap lineup becomes Ring, Double Decree, Mirror. Feels pretty good because everything else will get you there anyways. With the Solemns and stuff like that, True Nade gets a lot worse. I usually take out some True Nades in favor of the Decrees as well. So the deck changes a lot during this matchups, but it's for the better. And that's pretty much the entire deck.
All right, how about that side deck? Any changes you would make to the side deck if you had to do it again?
No, I feel like this is actually really solid.
Right on.
I loved every card in the sideboard. Everything was coming in, everything was coming out. It felt really nice. You can make an argument for smoke screening the burn, which I think is very viable.
Right on, man. Right on. All right, Bluetooth. Any special shout outs you want to give before we wrap it up, man?
Real quick, of course, shout out to Birdcage, my War League team. Y'all were very nice to me during the season. Didn't do too well, but hopefully next season I will be doing a lot more, getting a lot more dubs in. So shout out to y'all for being so nice and patient with me on that. Shout out to Drumple. Shout out to Nate Dog 29. Shout out to, of course, JDZ. Shout out to Nova Ethos for just being really chill, being really awesome with me, being super cool. And lastly, I want to say thank you to the boys at Safari Zone for being really nice to me this whole weekend, and Moxies as well for the same reason. Y'all were just really awesome to hang out with, and y'all were great people, great company.
Right on, man. Right on. Well, all right, Bluetooth, man. I hope to see you again. We're going to see you out there in Orlando, man.
Oh, yeah.
And hopefully you can go back to back. Let's see what goes down.
Oh, yeah, for sure, man.
All right, brother. Until next time, man. Take care.
Take care.
Peace.